Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a paralegal turned stay-at-home mom that loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get started on today's case. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Mother's Day. Feliz Dia de las Madres a todas las mamis. Speaking of mothers, let's talk about a real-life llorona with the name of Maggie Young. In November of 1965 in Honolulu, Hawaii, Maggie and her husband James had 5 young children together. Maggie had 2 adult children from a previous marriage. Maggie and James Young's children were 8-year-old James Jr., 5-year-old Janice, 3-year-old Judith, 2-year-old Jeanette, and 8-month-old baby Jessica. James Sr. was an Air Force captain and due to the nature of his work would be gone for extended periods of time. Maggie was born in 1927, making her 38 years old when she drowned her own children. She had a history of mental illness and had been hospitalized on several occasions prior to her unthinkable crimes. According to her husband, Maggie had a chaotic sleeping schedule, which is common for moms. What was not normal was Maggie's visions from God, aka hallucinations. On one occasion, she left the house for over 3 hours, and when her husband asked her where she had gone, she told him that she went off to marry Jesus and that the Virgin Mary was now his grandmother. James tried to get Maggie admitted to the mental hospital but was denied and told that she needed to voluntarily commit herself. When she finally agreed into committing herself to inpatient treatment after a month at the hospital, the psychiatrists told James that there was nothing more they could do for his wife and that further improvement would be flourished at home. They were sadly mistaken. In fact, just a few weeks after coming home, Maggie drowned her own children. On November 22, 1965, at 8 a.m., Maggie sent her eldest that was still at home to school and began to drown her children one by one from eldest to youngest. Then, when the eldest that was still at home came home from school, she drowned him too. Maggie then placed her dead children in their beds and tucked them in as if they were getting ready to go to sleep. Maggie told homicide detective John Dickinson that she killed her children due to her inability to care for them. She was taken to the Honolulu City County Jail as she waited to face first-degree murder charges. Although she purposely and meticulously drowned Jessica, Janet, Judith, Janice, and James to their deaths, Maggie Young was only charged for killing little James. Shortly after her killing her 5 children, Maggie called a friend named Elaine Marshall and asked her what the penalty for murder was. In Hawaii, Elaine told Maggie, "Oh no, Maggie, what have you done?" To which Maggie replied, "I killed them all. They were crying and I couldn't care for them all. They were sick and they were all crying," unquote. Elaine Marshall immediately dialed the police after that phone call with her dear friend Maggie. Honolulu detective Robert Davidson and Joe Luna sprinted to the Young family's home that was now a horrific crime scene. Maggie almost immediately relayed that she had murdered her own children by drowning, further evidenced by the autopsies done on the small 5 children that determined the manner of deaths of all the children were homicide, with the cause of death being drowning. Due to Maggie meeting the criteria of a diseased and deranged condition, she was deemed unfit to stand trial and was admitted to the Kanihu State Hospital, where at the time were still treating mental illness with electroshock therapy and frontal lobe lobotomies. 6 months after being legally committed to the mental state hospital, Maggie escaped on July 25, 1966. Maggie went to where the chickens were slaughtered on hospital grounds and hung herself to death. After Maggie's suicide, Dr. Audrey Hertz told the press, and I quote, "The more she improved, the more her realization of her act. She was up against a dead end," unquote. According to her now widowed husband, and I quote, "In her mind, she had removed the children from a cruel world and had sent them to be in a far better place, to be with God. I think that the proof that she truly believed that this is demonstrated in the fact that her treatment slowly returned to reality, and she began to realize what she had done was terribly wrong, and eventually she could no longer live with the terrible truth," unquote. James Young moved to California and remarried. 8-year-old James Jr., 5-year-old Janice, 3-year-old Judith, 2-year-old Janet, and 8-month-old Jessica were laid to rest at the Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in Texas. When Andrea Yates drowned her children in 2001, the similarities of the cases compelled James Young, who is reportedly a very private man, to write back to Rusty Yates, Andrea Yates' husband, when he reached out to him for support. And who more could have understood him more than the man who had gone through something so terribly parallel to him? James Young told Rusty Yates that he would experience anger every time he saw a parent humiliate or scold their child in public, especially at restaurants. He wished he could tell them, the abusing parent, that they should enjoy their children because their time together could be shorter than they thought. We reached the end of today's episode on Bay Area housewife of true crime. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. As always, I accept and respect your opinions. I welcome all questions, inquiries, case suggestions. Hit me up at yayareahousewife@gmail.com. And yes, it's Yay Area with the Y, like E40. Don't forget your hot Cheetos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.